outs of what it means to be a journalist with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And while we learned so much about their stories, other lessons about networking and opportunities and taking those opportunities emerged. And so here's what we had to say as we reflected on the day.
All right. Hi, guys. We're today going to talk about all the little lessons that we took away from the Blue Jackets game. So the first one that came to mind automatically was when Leah decided that she wanted to go skate. And that translated into the panel talking about taking opportunities and how you need to jump at any chance you get. So, Leah, first you should talk, I think, about what made you want to skate, and then we can open it up from there.
I feel like wanting to skate was something that I wanted to do at the start, but then I was like, I don't want to be the worst one out there. What if I'm really terrible? What if it gets recorded and then I get laughed at, you know?
And your socks.
And I didn't have the right socks. But you know what? Wrong socks and all. After seeing my friends out there, I built up the courage to go out. And I fell down a total of one time, but it was only because I had just stepped on the ice. So I saw the opportunity, and I didn't take it at first, but then I eventually did, and I didn't regret it. So.
Yeah,
I stood where my favorite player shoots the puck a lot, so that was pretty nifty. I was taking an opportunity. And getting to skate on arguably, most likely, the best ice in Columbus, Ohio, and Central Ohio, and all areas surrounding that is pretty awesome. So.
I think it really kind of reflects on the discussions we were having about, stepping up and taking control of your own situation, kind of getting those opportunities for yourself, networking, those kinds of things.
You asked a question at the panel. It was a really good question. And so you capitalized on that opportunity. And so kind of what we were talking about last time, but more so, could you talk about a time, anybody, where you saw an opportunity and capitalized on it, and just, because that's kind of what the panel was talking about, is how they just jumped on all the opportunities.
Yeah. So for me specifically, and it really falls into what the panel was talking about when it comes to sports media, but late October, early November, a local junior hockey team was looking for someone to kind of come in as an interim play-by-play announcer. And sadly, the first night they needed someone was actually opening night for my show. So I was like, oh, I cannot do this. On top of the fact that I feel like I don't have the qualifications. I also was like, it just isn't going to work out schedule-wise. But after talking with friends and my parents and, coaches of my brother's team, they were like, you should still see if there's an opportunity. So I took it upon myself, emailed the owner of the team who was taking those applications. And I was like, hey, I really can't work with this opportunity, but would it be possible for me to shadow? And he comes back and he's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Would you be interested in doing a camera position? And so because I decided to take that initiative and email the guy, as simple as that, it totally opened up this new avenue for me where I have my foot in the door. I'm already walking through.
So early in this year, I was taking AP Physics. I signed up for it. I knew it was going to be difficult, and I was kind of regretting it at the beginning of the school year. And I was like, this is awful. I don't want to do it. I went to my counselor, and I got the drop form. And I got it. I signed it and everything. And then I ended up not actually turning that in because I was like, well, it's going to look really good for my college resume. You're going to get problem-solving skills from the class. And then it started to become a little bit more easier as I got into the hang of it. And so instead of just dropping out at the first moment that I had when things got difficult, I kept going, and I'm doing great, and it's one of my best classes this year so far.
So I'm a senior this year, which means I'm going to college next year. And I'm not the best socially talking with other people, especially if I'm interviewing with a professor or something at a college. And so I was invited to go to University of Findlay's pharmacy day, where I interviewed for scholarships, whether or not I would get into pharmacy school. And I originally didn't want to go because I was terrified of talking to other people and professors. But then I ended up going, and then at the end of it, I won a $20,000 scholarship. So we'll see if I go there, but we'll see. So just capitalizing on opportunities. You don't know what you're going to get.
The last topic is the panel talked a lot about having to adapt based on circumstances. So they talked about, with the uprising of social media, they had to really adapt, and they're doing less writing and more like posting and stuff like that. And so I thought about when Dylan and Teddy were explaining hockey and Kat to the rest of us, and how being lifelong learners in journalism especially is important. So talk about kind of this class, maybe specifically, what you've had to learn and adapt to be able to become a better journalist.
Yeah, so again, I mean, like, relating it to originally the point where, like, as a fan of the sport, like, I'm constantly learning new things. I mean, if I'm being honest, I didn't understand the rules of hockey until, like, 3 years ago when I finally started getting interested into it as, like, the full game and not just as an entertainment. But that kind of also works for, like, journalism. I mean, you read news, you read books, you interact with this in your English classes, and then you enter this new realm of writing where you're following different rules and you have different topics that you're supposed to write about and perspectives you're supposed to take. And it's not the same as the writing you've done before. And it takes an open mind and a lot of patience to try to, like, relearn these strategies that you've been taught since you were in, like, first grade, learning how to write sentences. And now we're here trying to condense and make things factual and follow AP style. And it really just, like, it's this thing that you have to do as a lifelong academic, as a lifelong learner.
Back off of what Emma said about, like, being the social thing, because I'm that too, but, like, you have to go and interview people, which is not something I like doing personally. And then, like, so I've taken 2 years of journalism, and so having those people connections and things is really big. And, like, when you get more comfortable talking to more people, and I think that's a really good life skill that I need to learn more of too.
Kat, you didn't take journalism 1.
Yeah.
So what has been the learning curve for you, because you jumped right into the Odyssey?
Yeah, so I just kind of jumped right in, didn't know what I was doing. So I had to come in with just the open mind that, like, I had talked to Haley, who took the class, and she's like, it's not like your other English classes. Like, the writing's very different. So I had to just jump in and kind of listen to what everyone else said on how you're supposed to write and just try to kind of do that and not write with what I knew. I had to learn to drop, like, all the fluff, not all the fancy words, whatever. I kind of have to discover, like, in journalism, it's who you are as a writer, like, the angles you want to take from the stories, instead of just, like, here's the paper, like, write your thesis. Like, you get to kind of develop how you want to see it, your perspective on a story and stuff, which just kind of have to come in, like Teddy said, with an open mind to it.